Monday evenings at 9 p.m. So if you want to catch the conversation live with New York freedom fighters and friends and invited guests, which particularly what's so special about this space is it's hosted by people who are boots on the ground within their insights and people who said no to the mandates. These are your everyday heroes. And we need your help, fam, to make this space huge because even folks like AOC are looking for podcasts where Trump supporters are speaking. Let's help her find it. But get your cafecito, get your tea. I've got to warm up my coffee and tell your friends to check us out. The show could be listened to on X, on New York Stands Together, on Cafecito Break Rumble, and later on it will be published onto our Substack and YouTube. The information war is still here, and we really do need your help. It is crazy that with all of the connections that we have, we don't have a bigger channel. Que tremendo bullshit. You guys can make that different and change for us. We host the space with Mark Fun Y, who, if you guys don't know, Mark Fun Y is someone who is very learned in the politic arena, and he ran for office, and he has real reason to believe that the election was stolen from him. And he's not the only one we have reason to believe the election was stolen from. And I stand alone, myself, words by Ra only. I truly believe that a few years back, Lee Zeldin won. But who am I to really be able to prove that? I don't have the records, right? And then we saw what happened with Cara Castronova when she was running. And then we saw what happened with Tina Forte. She didn't beat AOC. We wanted her to beat, but she did get more people in her district who always vote blue to vote for Tina Forte. And so change is happening in New York. Change is happening slowly. Change would have happened maybe a little faster had it not been for all of the censorship, this media censorship complex. We've been telling you for years, Cafecito Break has been telling you for like 10 years, we're crossovers from the MTV industry. But as always, I call it the Jesus effect. The people who are right under your nose do not see the things that you are connected to, do not understand and do not value you, but people outside your inner circle do, or maybe within your realm. And so that has happened to many of us here who are on this fight, and many folks have lost their livelihoods, have had to move out of New York. The Perez sisters are still catching up with their lives. I mean, we had a triple hit. We lost our brick and mortar. We couldn't keep it. We were already struggling, so imagine trying to survive during the mandates. And we got excommunicated from our colleagues, and any little contracts we would get to supplement our income pa fuera. And we're canceled. We're canceled because of our politics. People in New York, people who've known us for over a decade, in which we have served specifically our community in New York, our Brooklyn community, specifically the Latino community. So why am I taking time to repeat the story that some of you already know so well? It's that all skin folk ain't kinfolk, mi gente. And that I have found true friends, I have found family, I have found people that I love. And I'm sharing it with you here on the space. I'm telling you, if I had a little magic wand and I could make everyone's lives easier, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I would definitely start with some of the lions that stood up all around the world in their environments. And some people got arrested simply for wearing a mask. Some people got arrested simply for trying to dine in an environment or going to a museum or movies. Like, you guys, we're right now, is so crazy to be hearing people talk about fascism and that Trump is a Hitler, and it's like a lot of us are looking at you guys like, did you miss the last 4 years? Where were you? Because good, intelligent people treated those of us who said no worse than anything I've ever experienced in my whole life. And I'm a strong, I consider myself a strong person. I'm still recovering from all of that. I'm still recovering. And so in this conversation that is the Monday space, the New York Freedom Fighter space, is hosted with Cozy 19, who's also an independent artist. He's a health freedom advocate, and he's a brother. And then you have Marfan Y, and we have contributors to the space that make it just about every time that they can. From the Finest Unfiltered podcast, former NYPD John McCary, Eric Dim. Whenever we can, we get Sal Greco pop in. This particular evening, we had Johnny Montana join us for the first time, and Carla, who popped in too. It's so nice to have her join the space. We also have some new folks, like a woman named Joan, who has been listening in, and we love when she chimes in because we're getting people's perspective. We're getting boots on the ground. Boots on the ground doesn't just mean you're working at a job. Boots on the ground means you got that access, that heartbeat access, like a mom and a dad does with their children. They have that intuition. They know, and we want to hear from you. But why is it a freedom? Or why is it a roundtable? Because especially during today's day, we do need to come in the spirit of peace, so that we can listen to one another, because we are having hard conversations. And now that Trump won the election, what's next? You know, we had these weird fires that broke out in New York City and Prospect Park and New York City and New Jersey. And yeah, there's been some folks that have been, I at least I know of one arrest, but the timing of it was so suspicious. And then all of a sudden you got the messaging from the administration, you know, it's dry outside. It hasn't rained. Well, never in my years of living in New York. And like Mark said, he doesn't recall ever a brush fire in New York City. So open your eyes. Questionable things are happening, and stop letting the media, mi gente, the media is getting in the way of relationships. We saw that happen with Obama. People started breaking up with each other. We started seeing that during 2020. Oh my God, if you didn't take the jab, you're killing my grandmother. You're a threat to society. I mean, people were wishing death upon us, which is a lot worse than I think whatever is happening right now, whatever hysteria is happening with some people who really believe that something terrible is going to happen to them. I mean, unless you committed a crime. But if you're just a regular human being, there should be nothing to be concerned about. But we do, and we cannot skip over 2020 and on. And there's still points in history we can't forget, like 9/11. But we're here. Everybody, take a moment to subscribe to Cafecito Break. Let's start the show. I am so proud of that moment. That was the Bronx when Trump visited the Bronx and the Bronx lit the fire, but the Bronx lit the fire before that day and before they had their Bronx rally. It was years before. We were telling you keep your eyes on the Bronx. Shout out to all the Lions out in the Bronx. Special shout out to Reverend Ruben Diaz and all of the people that support him. He is a man who's a lifelong Democrat who, this is just something that I'd like to share. Right now in the present moment, those of us who maybe live in blue cities or maybe our families are and friends are largely liberal or Democrats, there's a lot of infighting. And I know that depending on where you are and what your relationship is, but our relationship from the Cafecito Break standpoint, our livelihoods, our life, our entire profession now has been dedicated to community wellness and relations. So we would be so hypocritical and we're like, F you, we don't want to deal with this other half or other humans who are upset. Like, if you guys want to chat, if you guys want to listen, you're invited to the space again in the spirit of peace and cooperation, of learning and understanding. Doesn't mean that we have to agree. It just means that we're opening up the space so that we can listen to one another. And that's the first thing. A lot of people everywhere have not earned the right to be in a space with anybody else because they don't even know how to contain their emotions long enough to let another person speak. And no matter who you are, how old you are, young or old, that is not a skill set that's going to help you be successful in life or be successful in any kind of relationship. Some of the most successful people that I know don't have emotional meltdowns every single time something goes wrong. I mean, Donald Trump is a great example. They threw so much at him, and many people who just focus on hating him don't even understand how much that man had to withstand and his family. And, they have a lot of money, and there were times that it got dicey. Imagine the regular common folk, us. The Kamala Harris campaign, a lot of the people that were surrounding her, they spent so much time demonizing Trump and they spent less time talking about what Americans have been screaming about. We can't afford our groceries. We're putting our stuff on credit cards. We don't feel safe in our neighborhood, depending on where you are. I don't like the education that's happening in my schools, my kids' school. I don't like that I'm a parent and I feel like I'm losing my rights. What the heck is going on here? So thank you for tuning in. Are you ready to check out the space? All right, mi gente.